In a world where faith and tradition often intersect with the fast pace of modern life, few leaders have managed to capture the attention and devotion of millions quite like President Russell M. Nelson. As the 17th president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, President Nelson has become a symbol of spiritual strength, wisdom, and innovation. Today, the global Latter-day Saint community is abuzz with excitement and anticipation, as President Nelson has just made a huge announcement that promises to shape the future of the church in ways no one could have predicted. The news broke just minutes ago, sending shockwaves through congregations from Salt Lake City to Sao Paulo, from Manila to Manchester. Social media feeds lit up with speculation and heartfelt reactions as members and friends of the church tuned in to hear President Nelson's words. For many, this moment feels historic, a turning point that will be remembered for generations to come. President Nelson, now 99 years old, has led the church through a period of remarkable change and growth. Since becoming president in 2018, he has introduced sweeping reforms, emphasized the importance of personal revelation, and encouraged members to deepen their faith and service. Under his leadership, the church has expanded its humanitarian efforts, built new temples at an unprecedented rate, and reached out to communities around the world with a message of hope and unity. But today's announcement stands out even among these milestones. In a live broadcast from the conference center in Salt Lake City, President Nelson appeared energetic and focused, his voice carrying both authority and compassion. Flanked by his counselors in the first presidency, he began by expressing gratitude for the faith and prayers of church members everywhere. He spoke of the challenges facing the world, conflict, division, uncertainty, and reaffirmed the church's commitment to being a force for good. Then, with a sense of solemnity and excitement, President Nelson revealed the news that everyone had been waiting for. In a move that surprised even seasoned church observers, he announced a series of major initiatives designed to strengthen families, support youth, and expand the church's global reach. Among the highlights, a new worldwide program for children and teenagers, a renewed emphasis on mental health and emotional well-being, and the construction of several new temples in areas where the church is experiencing rapid growth. The new youth program, President Nelson explained, will focus on helping young people develop faith, resilience, and leadership skills in a rapidly changing world. Our youth are not just the future of the church, they are the church, he declared. The program will include new resources for parents and leaders, opportunities for service and learning, and a global network of support to help young Latter-day Saints connect with one another across borders and cultures. Equally groundbreaking is the church's new initiative on mental health. President Nelson acknowledged the growing challenges faced by individuals and families, especially in the wake of the global pandemic. He announced the creation of a church-sponsored network of counselors, support groups, and educational resources available to members and non-members alike. "We want everyone to know that they are not alone," he said. "The Savior's love is real, and help is available." Perhaps most exciting for many members is the announcement of new temples in locations that have long been hoped for. President Nelson listed cities and regions where temples will soon rise, bringing the blessings of the temple closer to millions. The news was met with tears of joy and spontaneous applause in congregations around the world. For Latter-day Saints, temples are sacred places of worship, learning, and connection with God and family. So each new temple is a cause for celebration. As the broadcast concluded, President Nelson urged members to look forward with faith and to be a light in the world. He reminded everyone that the church's mission is to invite all to come unto Christ, to serve others, and to build a community of love and understanding. The announcement, he said, is just the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, opportunity, and the promise of continued revelation. As the news of President Russell M. Nelson's announcement spread, the response from Latter-day Saints and friends of the church was immediate and heartfelt. Social media platforms were flooded with messages of gratitude, excitement, and even tears of joy. Members from every corner of the globe shared their reactions, expressing how much the new initiatives meant to them and their families. For many, President Nelson's words felt like a direct answer to prayers, a sign that the Lord is mindful of his people in every circumstance. In local meeting houses and homes, families gathered to discuss the implications of the new youth program. Parents expressed relief and hope, knowing that their children would have more resources and support as they navigate the challenges of growing up in a complex world. Youth leaders began brainstorming ways to implement the new curriculum. eager to help the rising generation develop faith, resilience, and a sense of belonging. Young people themselves took to group chats and social media, excitedly sharing their thoughts and looking forward to new opportunities for service, learning, and connection. The mental health initiative also struck a powerful chord. For years, members have quietly struggled with anxiety, depression, and other emotional challenges, sometimes feeling isolated or unsure where to turn for help. President Nelson's acknowledgement of these struggles, and the church's commitment to providing real, practical support, was met with overwhelming gratitude. Many members shared personal stories of how mental health challenges had affected their lives, and how much it meant to know that their faith community was taking action. Church leaders and counselors began preparing to roll out new resources, training, and support groups, determined to make a difference in the lives of those who are suffering. The announcement of new temples was, for many, the highlight of the day. In cities and regions where members have long traveled great distances to attend the temple, the news was met with celebration. Tears flowed as families realized that the blessings of the temple would soon be available closer to home. For Latter-day Saints, temples are not just buildings. They are sacred spaces where families are sealed together for eternity, where personal revelation is received, and where the presence of God is felt in a profound way. The promise of new temples is a promise of hope, healing, and spiritual strength. Church historians and commentators were quick to note the significance of President Nelson's announcement. In his 6 years as president of the church, he has already announced more temples than any previous leader, and his focus on youth and mental health marks a new chapter in the church's history. Many see these initiatives as a reflection of President Nelson's background as a heart surgeon, a man who understands both the physical and spiritual needs of individuals and families. His leadership style is marked by compassion, innovation, and a willingness to address difficult issues head-on. As the day went on, local church leaders received instructions on how to implement the new programs. Training sessions were scheduled, materials were distributed, and members were encouraged to reach out to those who might benefit from the new resources. The sense of unity and purpose was palpable, as members rallied around the vision set forth by President Nelson. In ward councils and family meetings, prayers of gratitude were offered, and plans were made to move forward with faith. For many, the announcement was a reminder of the power of revelation and the importance of following living prophets. President Nelson's message echoed the teachings of past church leaders, but with a sense of urgency and relevance for today's world. He reminded members that the Lord is still speaking, that miracles are still happening, and that the future is bright for those who trust in God. As night fell and the excitement of the day began to settle, members reflected on what the announcement meant for them personally. Some felt inspired to reach out to a struggling friend, others resolved to be more involved in their local congregations, and many simply felt a renewed sense of hope. President Nelson's announcement was more than just a list of new programs. It was a call to action, an invitation to be better, to serve more, and to trust in the Lord's timing. As the initial excitement of President Nelson's announcement began to settle, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints around the world started to consider the deeper meaning behind the changes. For many, the announcement was not just about new programs or buildings. It was a powerful reminder of the living nature of their faith. The idea that revelation continues, that God is aware of the needs of His children in every era, brought comfort and renewed conviction to countless hearts. In family homes, parents and children gathered to talk about what the new youth program would mean for their daily lives. Some parents expressed relief that the church was addressing the unique pressures facing today's teenagers, pressures that include social media, academic stress, and a rapidly changing world. The new program's focus on resilience, leadership, and faith-building activities was seen as a lifeline for families seeking to raise strong, confident young people. Youth themselves felt empowered, knowing that their voices and experiences were being heard at the highest levels of church leadership. Leaders at the local and regional levels began to organize special meetings and training sessions to help members understand and implement the new initiatives. Bishops, Relief Society presidents, and youth leaders worked together to ensure that everyone had access to the resources and support they needed. The sense of unity and shared purpose was tangible as members from diverse backgrounds came together to move forward in faith. The mental health initiative in particular sparked important conversations within congregations. For too long, mental health had been a topic shrouded in stigma and silence. President Nelson's willingness to address it openly and to provide concrete resources was seen as a turning point. Members who had quietly struggled with depression, anxiety, or other challenges now felt seen and supported. Church leaders encouraged open dialogue, reminding everyone that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. The new network of counselors and support groups promised to make a real difference in the lives of individuals and families. The announcement of new temples continued to reverberate across the globe. In areas where members had long dreamed of having a temple nearby, the news was met with celebrations, special devotionals, and even impromptu gatherings. For many, the temple is the heart of their spiritual life, a place of peace, revelation, and eternal connection. The promise of new temples brought hope to those who had sacrificed time and resources to attend distant temples, and it strengthened the faith of entire communities. Church scholars and historians began to analyze the broader implications of President Nelson's announcement. Some noted that his leadership has been characterized by a willingness to adapt and innovate, while remaining firmly rooted in core doctrines. Others pointed out that the focus on youth and mental health reflects a deep understanding of the challenges facing modern families. President Nelson's background as a physician and a father of 10 children gives him a unique perspective on both the physical and spiritual needs of the church. As the days passed, stories began to emerge of lives already touched by the announcement. A young woman in Brazil shared how the new mental health resources helped her find the courage to seek counseling. A family in Africa celebrated the news of a new temple, knowing that generations would be blessed by its presence. Youth in Europe organized service projects inspired by the new program, reaching out to their communities with love and compassion. For President Nelson, the announcement was not just about policy, it was about people. In his closing remarks, he urged members to minister to one another with love, to seek personal revelation, and to be a light in a world that desperately needs hope. His words resonated deeply, reminding everyone that the true strength of the church lies not in its programs or buildings, but in the faith and service of its members. As the church moves forward, the impact of President Nelson's announcement will continue to unfold. For now, members are united in gratitude, hope, and a renewed commitment to follow the prophet's counsel. The future feels bright, and the sense of anticipation is palpable. For Latter-day Saints everywhere, this is more than just a moment in history. It is the beginning of a new era. As the days turned into weeks, the ripple effects of President Russell M. Nelson's announcement continued to be felt throughout the global Latter-day Saint community. Local leaders and members alike began to see the practical changes taking shape in their wards and stakes. Training sessions for the new youth program were held in chapels and over video calls, with leaders sharing ideas and best practices for helping young people thrive. Parents expressed gratitude for the church's proactive approach, noting that the new resources and curriculum seemed tailor-made for the challenges their children faced in today's world. The mental health initiative, too, began to bear fruit. Church-sponsored counselors and support groups started to appear in more areas, and members reported feeling more comfortable discussing their struggles openly. In Sunday meetings and youth activities, leaders emphasized the importance of emotional well-being, teaching that faith and mental health go hand in hand. Stories of healing and hope began to circulate, of individuals who found the courage to seek help, of families who learned to support one another, and of congregations that became safer, more compassionate spaces for everyone. The announcement of new temples continued to inspire excitement and gratitude. In cities where temples had been announced, members organized special devotionals and service projects to prepare for the blessings to come. Local news outlets covered the stories of families who had waited years, even decades, for a temple in their region. For many, the prospect of having a temple nearby was more than just a convenience. It was a fulfillment of long-held prayers and a sign of God's love for His children everywhere. President Nelson's announcement also sparked renewed interest in missionary work and service. Youth and adults alike felt inspired to share their faith and to reach out to those in need. In some areas, wards and branches launched new service initiatives, partnering with local charities and community organizations. The message was clear: the church's mission to love thy neighbor was more important than ever, and every member had a role to play in building a better world. Church leaders at every level worked tirelessly to ensure that the new initiatives were implemented smoothly. Stake presidents, bishops, and Relief Society leaders coordinated efforts, provided training, and offered support to those who needed it. The sense of unity and shared purpose was stronger than ever as members rallied around President Nelson's vision for the future. In many ways, the announcement served as a reminder of the power of collective faith and the blessings that come from following inspired counsel. For President Nelson himself, the response to his announcement was deeply moving. In a follow-up message, he expressed gratitude for the faith and dedication of church members worldwide. He acknowledged the challenges that lay ahead but emphasized that with faith, unity, and a willingness to serve, anything was possible. President Nelson's optimism and compassion were evident in every word, and his message resonated with members of all ages. As the church continued to move forward, members found themselves reflecting on the significance of living prophets and ongoing revelation. President Nelson's leadership had already brought about significant changes. Adjustments to the Sunday meeting schedule, a renewed focus on home-centered gospel learning, and a wave of new temples. But this latest announcement felt different. It was a call to action, a reminder that the Lord's work is ongoing, and that every member has a part to play in building the kingdom of God. In homes, chapels, and communities around the world, Latter-day Saints recommitted themselves to living the gospel more fully. They reached out to those who were struggling, offered service to their neighbors, and sought personal revelation in their own lives. The excitement and hope sparked by President Nelson's announcement became a catalyst for positive change, both within the church and in the wider world. As the dust settled and the initial excitement gave way to action, one thing was clear: President Russell M. Nelson's huge announcement had set the stage for a new era of faith, service, and unity in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The journey was just beginning, and the future had never looked brighter. As the church's new initiatives began to take root, stories of transformation and hope continued to emerge from every corner of the globe. In South America, a young woman shared how the new youth program helped her find confidence and purpose, inspiring her to serve as a leader among her peers. In Africa, families celebrated the announcement of a new temple, gathering for special prayers and community service projects in anticipation of the blessings to come. In Europe and Asia, members expressed gratitude for the church's focus on mental health, sharing how the new resources had already made a difference in their lives and the lives of their loved ones. The impact of President Nelson's announcement was not limited to church members alone. Community leaders, educators, and mental health professionals took note of the church's proactive approach, reaching out to collaborate on service projects and support networks. In some areas, local governments and organizations partnered with Latter-day Saint congregations to address pressing needs, from food insecurity to youth mentorship. The church's commitment to service and compassion became a beacon of hope, strengthening relationships and building bridges across faiths and cultures. For many, the most profound change was the renewed sense of unity and purpose within the church. Members who had once felt isolated or discouraged now found themselves part of a global movement, united by faith and a shared desire to make a difference. The new youth program fostered friendships and leadership skills, empowering young people to take an active role in their congregations and communities. The mental health initiative broke down barriers of stigma and silence, creating safe spaces for honest conversations and healing. The announcement of new temples brought families together, inspiring them to prepare spiritually and to serve one another with greater love. President Nelson's leadership style, marked by humility, compassion, and a willingness to listen, continued to inspire members and leaders alike. He encouraged everyone to seek personal revelation, to trust in the Lord's timing, and to be patient with themselves and others. His example reminded members that true discipleship is not about perfection, but about progress, service, and a willingness to follow the Savior's example. As the months passed, the church's new initiatives began to bear fruit in unexpected ways. Youth who had once struggled with self-doubt discovered new talents and passions through service and leadership opportunities. Families who had faced challenges found strength and healing through temple worship and community support. Individuals who had battled anxiety or depression found hope in the church's mental health resources and the love of their fellow members. The excitement generated by President Nelson's announcement also sparked a wave of missionary enthusiasm. Young men and women, inspired by the vision of a brighter future, volunteered to serve missions in record numbers. Returned missionaries shared their experiences, encouraging others to reach out and share the gospel with friends and neighbors. The spirit of service and outreach became contagious, spreading from ward to ward, stake to stake, and country to country. For President Nelson, the true measure of success was not in numbers or statistics, but in the lives changed and the hearts touched. In a follow-up address, he expressed his deep gratitude for the faith and dedication of church members worldwide. He reminded everyone that the Lord's work is a work of love, and that every act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to the building of God's kingdom. As the church looked to the future, members felt a renewed sense of hope and anticipation. The challenges of the world, conflict, division, uncertainty, remained, but so did the promise of continued revelation and guidance from living prophets. President Nelson's announcement had set a new course, one defined by faith, service, and unity. In the hearts of millions, the message was clear: the Lord is mindful of his children, and great things are yet to come. The journey was far from over, but with faith, courage, and a willingness to serve, the future looked brighter than ever for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As the dust settled and the initial excitement of President Russell M. Nelson's huge announcement gave way to daily life, the true impact of his message began to unfold in quiet, powerful ways. In homes, chapels, and communities across the world, Latter-day Saints found themselves reflecting on what it meant to be part of a living, growing church, one that responds to the needs of its members and the challenges of the times with faith, compassion, and inspired leadership. For many, the new youth program became a catalyst for personal growth and deeper connection. Young people who once felt overlooked or uncertain about their place in the church now found themselves at the center of a movement designed to empower and uplift them. Activities, service projects, and leadership opportunities gave them a voice and a sense of purpose. Parents and leaders noticed a renewed energy among the youth as they took ownership of their spiritual journeys and reached out to support one another. The mental health initiative continued to break down barriers and foster healing. Members who had long struggled in silence began to share their stories, finding understanding and support within their congregations. Church-sponsored counselors and support groups became lifelines for individuals and families facing difficult challenges. The message that "you are not alone" resonated deeply, helping to create a culture of empathy and acceptance that extended far beyond the walls of the chapel. The construction of new temples brought a sense of hope and anticipation to communities around the world. Groundbreaking ceremonies were held, and members gathered to celebrate the fulfillment of long-awaited prayers. For many, the temple is a symbol of God's love and a place of refuge in a turbulent world. The promise of new temples inspired families to prepare spiritually, to strengthen their relationships, and to serve their neighbors with greater love and compassion. President Nelson's announcement also sparked a renewed commitment to service and outreach. Members of all ages looked for ways to make a difference in their communities, whether through organized projects or simple acts of kindness. The spirit of unity and purpose that followed the announcement became a driving force for good, as Latter-day Saints sought to live the teachings of Jesus Christ more fully in their daily lives. As the months passed, the church's new initiatives became woven into the fabric of everyday life. Youth programs flourished, mental health resources expanded, and temples rose in cities and towns across the globe. The sense of anticipation and hope that followed President Nelson's announcement did not fade. It grew stronger, fueled by the faith and dedication of millions of members. For President Nelson, the journey was a testament to the power of revelation and the importance of listening to the promptings of the Spirit. In his closing remarks, he reminded members that the Lord's work is ongoing and that each person has a unique role to play in building the kingdom of God. He encouraged everyone to seek personal revelation, to serve with love, and to trust in the Lord's timing. The legacy of President Nelson's announcement will be felt for generations to come. It marked a turning point in the history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a moment when faith, innovation, and compassion came together to meet the needs of a changing world. For members everywhere, it was a reminder that the Lord is mindful of his children and that miracles are still happening in our day. As the church moves forward, the excitement and hope sparked by President Nelson's announcement continue to inspire. Members are united in purpose, strengthened by faith, and committed to serving others. The future is bright, and the journey is just beginning. In the end, the true significance of President Russell M. Nelson's huge announcement is not just in the programs launched or the temples built, but in the lives changed, the hearts healed, and the faith renewed. For Latter-day Saints everywhere, this is a moment to remember, a testament to the power of revelation, the strength of community, and the enduring promise of hope.